7 years ago, Victor Lane believed the safest place to hide a lie was inside a policy. He was a senior safety coordinator for a chemical processing facility in Texas, responsible for approving temporary overrides when production targets clashed with alarms. One night, a pressure warning tripped on a mixing line that fed an adjacent warehouse. Victor approved a short override to keep the batch moving, telling himself it would be reversed before shift change. Minutes later, a valve failed and a maintenance technician named Owen Reed was exposed to toxic fumes. Owen survived the night, but never regained full lung function. The incident report blamed a faulty sensor and praised swift response. Victor signed the final page. The case closed. Owen's wife, Claire Reed, read the report the way Victor hoped no one would slowly twice. She noticed the phrasing, "Temporary override applied per protocol. Protocols have footprints." Claire didn't accuse anyone. She learned the language instead. She took a job in industrial compliance, studied hazard logs, and learned how overrides were recorded, how control systems kept parallel histories, and how a temporary change lived longer in the shadows than it did on paper. She learned that alarms don't disappear. They're muted. Years passed. Victor's career expanded. Panels, training videos, a reputation for calm decision-making under pressure. Claire waited until the facility announced a third-party audit tied to a new insurance carrier routine. Mandatory, quiet. She applied through the auditor under her maiden name and was assigned to reconcile safety narratives with control system archives. Her task was boring by design. She followed it faithfully. The night of Owen's exposure, the primary log showed a clean sensor fault. The secondary historian told a different story. It recorded an override token issued from Victor's credentials, time-boxed for 10 minutes, renewed once, and expired after the valve failed. The historian also recorded something else Victor never mentioned, an alarm acknowledgement pressed remotely while the mixing line continued to run, muted, not fixed. Claire didn't copy the data. She attached it to an audit note written in neutral language. Override duration exceeded stated narrative. Recommend reconciliation. That sentence did what shouting never could. Questions followed. Then more questions. Insurance asked why the override renewal wasn't disclosed. Legal asked why the remote acknowledgement wasn't mentioned. Victor was invited to explain. He smiled, used words like urgency and judgment, and said everyone does it. The room stayed quiet. When investigators replayed the timeline, second by second, Victor realized the trap. Claire hadn't accused him. She'd asked the system to explain itself. Systems don't improvise. They remember. Owen's case was reopened without fanfare. The facility settled civilly and revised its override policy nationwide, requiring dual authorization and automatic disclosure of acknowledgments. Victor resigned before charges were announced, but resignation didn't erase credentials. He was later charged with falsifying safety records and reckless endangerment. Claire didn't attend the hearing. She drove Owen to a pulmonary appointment the same morning Victor entered his plea. On the way back, she told Owen one thing. They had to listen to the machine. Revenge, she learned, didn't need anger or spectacle. It needed patience, precision, and the courage to let a muted alarm speak at full volume, exactly once when it mattered most. Victor thought a policy could hide a choice. The logs proved otherwise.